All right, if everybody could please give me your full and undivided attention. I think I said that right. I would greatly appreciate it. So I want to introduce all of you to our first guest speaker. His name's Travis Gribble. His lovely wife, Emily, is here in front. Raise your hand. So they came out all the way from Montana. So retired police officer, retired police sergeant, SWAT team, did it all. So after traumatic calls for service and everything kind of building up, Travis got out of law enforcement. Now he runs My Arena. So he's traveling all over the country. He's going to different departments to giving presentations to talking about mental health, to normalizing the stigma, to normalize the fact that the things that we experience in the first responder and military community is normal, and that you're not weak or a bitch, I'm going to say it, if you ask for help. So without further ado, please, round of applause, Travis Gribble.
Thank you. Appreciate it. This is incredible. I don't know if you guys, if you go to around a lot of these events that are raising monies for organizations like this, but this is a struggle to get people here. And this is the third annual. To see all these people and how this is set up, like, I commend you guys. Like, you are doing an amazing thing. Thank you very much. So it's kind of interesting. So what does one speak about when you're in front of some first responders, you're in front of people that obviously support our community? The biggest thing you guys need to know is what you're doing. You're on the right path. And I'll tell you a little bit about my career and how Greg and I got started up and why this is so important. So I did 24 years in law enforcement, retired out of Mesa PD in Arizona, February of 2022. I was the guy who said mental health wellness was not important. I have told people before, suck it up. This is what you signed up for. It's what we do. Until finally, because of some significant calls that I went through, it took me out. There's a book out there called, The Body Keeps the Score. And that's literally what was happening to me. And I kept ignoring it until finally it creeped up, and I went and got the appropriate help. Ultimately took a retirement because of it. And so how did I get here? What is My Arena? So a little bit about my organization. I was given the opportunity to speak in Montana to a bunch of SWAT leadership in the state. And my buddy that runs one of the organizations up there gave me the opportunity. He said, hey, come and talk about your situation. So I went and talked about what the struggle was, how I ignored it, and how I got through specific treatment with a culturally competent first responder therapist, which was cognitive behavioral therapy and EMDR therapy, which literally saved my life. And so I did this, talk with this group, and it got a good response. And now, because of that, I started the organization My Arena. I travel all over the country now, from coast to coast now, New York to here. And I share my story, and I get up with a therapist. One of them is the ones that treated me, and then a couple other in Montana. And as I tell my story, they give the clinical side of what it looks like for a first responder therapist to treat us, to know what it is that we need. The first time that I ever heard that suicide ideations is a normal thought that we have as first responders was the first day I found the therapist that saved my life. Before that, I thought something was wrong with me. I said I wasn't going to get emotional. So I go all over the country and I talk about sharing my story. And you guys, you have to understand, there is many out there that are hurting and they just don't know where to turn. Because unfortunately, our culture still, if you're not familiar with it, is there's a very negative stigma associated to saying, hey, I need a timeout. And so when I got hooked up, Greg and I were together last night. We all went up to dinner. We were trying to remember, how did I ever find Overwatch Collective? And we don't know. It was something through social media. And when I learned what they were doing is filling that gap for when, hey, maybe someone doesn't feel comfortable coming forward because they're going to be condemned at their agency, at least this is a lifeline to get them started. And so I started looking into what they do, and I said, this is the ticket. This is something, because how I approach my stuff with organizations, when I come out and speak to different groups, the first thing I want you to know as an individual first responder, it's okay to not be okay. We have to stop the bleed with that right now, to where you know, hey, it's okay. These are normal thoughts. These are normal feelings that you are having, because you are in the chaos at least 4+ shifts a week. That is incredible. As a first responder, they say on average throughout a 20+ year career, you handle 700 critical incidents. The average civilian is 4 in a lifetime. And if you don't know how to process those things, because sometimes there's going to be an event that you don't know why you can't get through it. Science has not yet proven why sometimes we can go to a critical incident and it doesn't process. And that's where these culturally competent first responder therapists come in, that they are there for us to help us get through that through certain types of therapy. And so when I found Greg's, what he's doing, what the organization's doing here, I said, this is a perfect fit. So now as I go along and I travel all across the country, we've done 30 events over this last year. And Greg, we now have a video that he shows, and it is a resource for people that I am talking to. We've had people use it. 3 of the therapists that I work with now are verified therapists with Greg's organization, with Overwatch Collective, and I could not be more happy. It is what we need. And the next step we need to go is we need to make everyone that's in here, if you're a first responder or if you have loved ones, you need to say to them all the time that, hey, it's okay. This shit is tough. I know when I started in 1996, I had no idea. Even though I knew what I was getting into, I had no idea the toll that the career would take on me. I wouldn't change a thing, I'd be quite honest with you, other than I wish I would have learned about getting help earlier in my career. But I love the career, and I will never turn back from that. I think going forward, if we let the younger people know that, hey, this is the way, learn from us, learn from our mistakes, and let's make it normal. And our organizations have to understand that as well. If there's any leadership of organizations in here right now, it falls upon your shoulders to say, we are changing the culture. We want to retain the good people. We want to recruit new people. And the way to do that and to keep people healthy is to let them know that they can come forward for help without being persecuted. We have to change that culture. And we can do it individually, by changing the stigma. If you guys don't know, and Greg and I have talked about this on his podcast, other podcasts that I've been on, reported right now for police officers is 66 police officers have committed suicide this year. If that right there as an organization doesn't let you take pause and think we've got to change things, I don't know what does. And that is probably, I would almost guarantee, underreported. We have to change that stigma. We have to change that people know that it's okay to come forward for help. If not, we're just going to keep down this path that we're going. So tonight, what you guys are doing here, providing this money, providing the funds to offer therapy to people that just need it, the families that need it. You guys, this is incredible. I do not know of another organization like this across the United States that is doing exactly this. And that's why I chose to support it. There's nobody else I get behind. I'm not a 501c3. I am just out there sharing my story, trying to get people help. But this is the one organization that I chose to get behind because they are doing what is needed. Also, real quick, want to talk about the app. If you have not downloaded the app and you're in here, I beg you to do it tonight, okay? I know as I look back, if I would have had something like that to help me throughout my career, how incredible that would be. Even if on shift, something's going on, I need to pop on there for 5 or 10 minutes and just get some encouragement to keep pushing through, that is incredible. And if we help that app grow, it's going to bring more funding into this organization, and it's going to help the individual officer. If you haven't been on there, we've already had people on there anonymously it said, I'm depressed. I don't know what's going on. What do I do? That's what we need, because they don't feel comfortable at times coming forward to the people around them. And until we change that culture, all this stuff is so very important to what you're doing. So if you had any doubt, like, hey, what is this all about? What are we doing? I'm telling you, this is the ticket. This will help us save lives. I know that people have turned for help. I don't know, Greg, I think it's up to over $60,000 they've paid now in funding for therapy sessions. That is incredible, because the first time that I went into therapy and an appropriate person that knew what they were doing, it changed my life. It takes one time, and you don't understand, like, that can be the life-saving moment for that individual first responder. So we have to keep it going forward. I could ramble for a lot of hours here. I do have some business cards up there for my arena. We do go around and, we share my story. We do some consulting with agencies if you guys are ever looking for that. But we are here to partner with the Overwatch Collective. And I thank you so much for me, because I know even individuals that I have walked alongside of, they have already turned to Overwatch for care, and it is saving lives. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it.